Hi everyone, number one Marmaduke fan with a review and art critique of Glenn Keane's At The Adventures of Adam Raccoon, the Mighty Giant. If you go to my previous video on the King's Big Dinner, I had an idea in this video, and after reading this book, I've learned I was wrong. So I just want to clarify what I was wrong about. When I read the King's Big Dinner, I noticed the year this was published, and I said, well, what I think is going on is that as Glenn Keane continues to make these books, he's feeling out how he's drawing the characters, and he's getting more bold as time goes on. So I said in this book, he's probably got just a little bit more of a gentle line. He's a little bit more polished. And then in the later books, he's using a thicker line. He's being a little bit more bold and expressive and loose. And then I read this one, and that thesis got destroyed because this book precedes The King's Big Dinner, and this has a thick, bold line to it. So I'm now revising that thesis. My new thesis is that as a talented and professional and dedicated artist of decades, what Glenn Keane is doing is every time he comes to a project, he comes to it fresh and with new eyes, and he's constantly changing how he draws. So every book he's not holding to one solid model that is static, and he never deviates from that model. Every time he draws Adam Raccoon, it's a little bit from the last time he draws Adam Raccoon, and he's always trying new lines and new strokes. He's always changing, and it always looks good. So when we look at this, now that I've kind of made that clarification, I'll point out the bold, thicker line work, more pressure, in contrast to kind of the lighter line work I was seeing in the King's Big Dinner. But that's not going to be our main focus, because like every other book in this excellent series, this gives me new things to talk about. An excellent artist always gives you wonderful things to talk about. I am the anti-diversity in comics channel. He can't talk that much about things he loves, but he can talk a lot about things he hates. I don't know what I can talk about things I dislike and why I dislike them, but I always can find new things to talk about when I get excited about something. The Mighty Giant by Glenn Keane. Illustrations copyrighted 1989, so I think this is the first one Keane produced. These could be read in any order, really. And let's dive in. So I want to look at the last page, so I need to make sure that I skip something near the front so that I can show you the last page. So a mighty roar echoed through Master's Wood. I think you know this is the first one because it introduces King Aaron and Adam Raccoon. Excellent. I think Glenn Keane is the colorist of this. Text and illustrations copyrighted by Glenn Keane, which means I think he's producing everything. He's doing the color, and he's doing the either charcoal or oil pastel. Someone help me out. I'm probably going to hit up Glenn Keane and show him these and ask him which he used, because it's bugging me that I don't know whether this is charcoal or oil pastel or dry pastel. Glenn Keane, if you're watching this, I hope you're not laughing too much at how low the quality of this channel is, but I love you. You have inspired generations of young artists like me, and I'm sure you know that. All right. So a mighty roar is heard, and King Aaron is calling for Adam. So I'm going to skip Adam's introduction. Actually, Adam just kind of comes out and says, "Hey, King Aaron," because I want to talk about the illustration which comes after that. This was kind of interesting because this is the same as the end illustration at the end of all the other books, but he reworked it slightly. I think he took the mountains and maybe digitally moved them over so we could get this 2-page idea down to 1 page. So he's using digital tools, but he needs to work flexibly to make his end page. So I don't consider that lazy. That's just him being smart, and he wants something nice on the last page of all the other books to explain the tone and the world that the books are set in. So he used this illustration and he reworked it slightly so that it still looks fresh. So let's just talk about Glenn Keane and what he's doing. So King Aaron is asking Adam Raccoon to go tell everyone in the forest that Aaron is king of this woods. It's very Lion King-esque. You can imagine Mufasa bringing Simba up to Pride Rock and showing him the kingdom. But in this case, Adam is being given a mission. And look at this. Adam has a neutral expression. He's sitting like a little child, looking up at the father figure. And the father is kind of twisting and looking around, engaging with the young person, twisting his body around. They're just relaxed, seated poses, but they're both solid, understandable shapes. I need to talk. Did I forget to talk about some things? No. Okay, this is this book. Good. I get to talk about some more body language stuff later. So Adam is eager for the job of being the king's representative in what do they call this wood? I want to remember the name of it. The Master's Wood. The master's wood. Okay. I just remember that. I don't need to look it up. Okay. So King Aaron makes Adam his deputy so that he can tell everyone in the world about it, right? You see the obvious Christian metaphor here for evangelism. But anyway, so again, like in the past books, that still works even without a kid who found this book without any clue what Christianity was would still be mesmerized by the power of these illustrations and the story, and I think the story being told. So Adam shows off his deputy's badge to all the animals in the woods, and boom, 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 they hear a mighty giant stomping through. So my first thought when I saw this was, oh, well, they're going to do a David and Goliath story, because there are so many stories based on David and Goliath. It's kind of been beaten to death in Christian children's literature. It's a trope where if anything is about a little guy defeating a big guy, we call it a David and Goliath story. But there's a bit of a head fake here, because if you say, oh, this is a Christian book, it's going to be David and Goliath. Nope, it's not David and Goliath. It's just a giant. So off he goes, boom, boom, boom. Color indicates the sunset. Shadows indicate where the light source is coming from. Solid as usual. And King Aaron stands inside the footprint and says, well, someone needs, after they tell him about the giant, someone needs to go and welcome him to Master's Wood and tell him I am the king. Now, who's been made responsible for that? That's his job, and he is not looking forward to the task. All right, you ready, guys? So this was made 1989. I know that Pepe is a work of art, but I gotta be honest. I think that Glenn Keane's ability to draw a smug frog is a little bit above the Pepe mean. That is one smug frog. So Adam is not eager to go talk to a giant because he is a little guy and the giant is massive, but everyone's afraid to go talk to the giant except Freddy the Frog. And once again, Keane is drawing from a Christian parable, but he's reworking it to tell his own story. So this is the parable of the two sons. One son, the father asks his two sons to help him gather the crops before the storm arrives. And one son says, well, I won't do it. And he's a defiant. And the other son says, I will help you, father. But then the one who said he would help his father doesn't show up. He doesn't help his father. And the one who at first was defiant and said, I won't help you, father, he comes and actually helps his father. And Jesus' point is, which of the two did what his father asked? And it was the one who did what his father asked, not the one who just said he was going to do what his father asked. So I think you can see that. If you read that parable and then read this, you can see the inspiration. But unlike The King's Big Dinner, which seemed to be kind of a story that was directly following the flow of a Christian parable, this has just like a vague idea of that Christian parable, but it's entirely its own story. So how about you, Freddy? Asked the king, and Freddy is down for it. He boasted. See this? Economy of language. One word, and we have foreshadowed the character that Freddy is. He is boasting about going to tell the giant. He's not sincerely interested in going to tell the giant that King Aaron is king. Look at this. All right, a zoomed out shot with all the animals celebrating Freddy's selflessness. And just a little drawing of Adam standing with his head down. Everything you need to understand this story is conveyed through the characters and the entire scene as a whole. This is a somber moment of reflection for Adam, but Glenn Keane doesn't have to say Adam was super duper sad. We know that Adam is sad because of the art. Love your craft. Love your story. Excuse me. That voice is not good for Cop Squad. All right, so Freddy the Frog, of course, he wanted the fame and glory, but he is not. He doesn't want to go looking for a giant. And Adam takes his time to think. He looks at his reflection. He looks at the star that was given to him and that burden. He remembers King Aaron's words, "Not all know me as their king." The giant needs to know, Adam said, and off he ran to find him. And we're going to see some compositional excellence. I mean, this is all generally excellent, but there are some key moments that I want to throw mad respect on as excellent moments. All right, establishing shot through the forest. Adam is small, emphasizing his fear, emphasizing his smallness. Look at this page. Just look at this. the moon, and Adam is perfectly placed as a silhouette within the moon. There are no tangents. His tail isn't going over the moon because Glenn Keane knows what tangents are and avoids them especially at critical moments, right? So the thing about being persnickety about tangents, someone could say, oh, well, that's a tangent. Well, the key parts are what are being paid attention to. I'm paying attention. Adam Raccoon is the center of interest, and Adam Raccoon is not fighting with this moon. This moon is putting focus on him and his silhouette. His expression is great, his body language is great, and just one little persnickety branch underneath him. Everything leading up to Adam. So as he's looking for the giant, look at this fist. One giant fist. We can see some underdrawing and things where lines got reworked. We can see the wrinkles in his knuckles are beautiful lines that relate to one another. And this giant, I don't know if Glenn Keane worked on the Christmas Carol Disney animated show with Scrooge McDuck, but this giant looks a lot like the Disney giant from that Christmas special, and I think he's been in other Disney cartoons. So I don't know if Glenn Keane worked on that, but I at least see echoes of that idea. And the giant's largeness is emphasized by his largeness on the page. And just like Zach has told the story, if you want to make something look big in a comic book where you only have a little page, put something really tiny next to it and it will look big. Not only is a little tiny thing next to this giant, the giant is big on the page compared to what went before. Pacing and context matters. Little, little, big. Yes. So Adam tells the giant about the wise and loving King Aaron, and the giant listens. And as King Aaron is looking for Adam, boom, boom, boom. Even the rocks are pleasing, simple shapes. Everyone runs in fear from the giant, and King Aaron says, no, look, it's Adam Raccoon. And there's Adam Raccoon on the giant. He's got this big, fun, dopey expression. He looks like a fun Disney character. Look, King Aaron shakes his finger. I didn't even notice that the first time. Instead of shaking his hand, he shakes his index finger. And the reason I wanted to show you the last page is as they're dancing, our boy Freddy the Frog comes back. And look, Adam's dancing with the girl raccoon. There's energy and life. Beautiful art is about not just your talents and not just your work ethic. It is also about relating life and what you see in life to the audience. Another excellent story. I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. Maybe I shouldn't have talked about Pepe in this. Whatever. It's a good meme. I love you guys. Catch you later.